Kyle, and I'm back again for another Chem of the Week. And haven't done one of these in like 2 weeks. And I mean, most of the reason is I've been on the road or been in meetings, and it's just really hard when I'm in my truck, or I haven't got quite to the truck video mounting just yet. But I've got basically everything I need to do that with. But anyway, so we're gonna sit here, and right now I just checked. It's negative 26 here right now on Thursday, January 31st, and I think the wind chill was like negative 44 out in our house in Waukesha. So good day to be inside. My wife's home too. Her work's been shut down the last 2 days, so it's been kind of interesting. But so back to the subject. So this week's chemical of the week. Almost did a hefty brothers there, but the chemical of the week is going to be Pursuit, and it's Pursuit or imazapyr, and it's been actually a really good chemistry for a long time. I actually had records from one customer going back till like the mid 90s, and we had a break of Pursuit with water hemp, and that was the reason why I went back to look and see how long he'd been using it. Literally every year from like 2013 until like 1996, he was using at least half rates of Pursuit as residual option to control weeds, and the initial part of it was to control everything. I mean, basically, Pursuit, when it first came out, it was one of those great chemistries that it controlled most of our small-seeded, some of our large-seeded broadleaves, and then even helped control some grass species and get some grass residual. So we had, basically you can go out with Select, Pursuit, and basically clean up a field. And that didn't last very long. So Pursuit's an ALS chemistry. ALS chemistries have probably, they're the most resistant weed species, like as far as numbers go, in the chemical spectrum. So ALS chemistries, they're terrible as far as it comes to residuals and mostly contact and try to actually kill weeds or actively growing weeds. So Pursuit's great for some things. We still really like Pursuit when we're going out after just the residual grass option. It came back in the Wisconsin trials this year and actually did pretty good on lamb's quarter. It still does pretty decent on ragweed. It's actually got a fairly decent fit for a lot of chemical programs. But the one thing that really the Achilles heel with Pursuit is anything that it can be ALS chemistries wise resistant to, and water hemp's number one. I mean, water hemp, the amaranth series or species of weeds, Pursuit's just absolutely terrible on that stuff. The first time we saw water hemp show up in my neck of the woods in Wisconsin was where we've been usually continuous Pursuit. So there was the guy who's been using it since the mid 90s, and there was our farm who we were using it since about probably the same time. Then we were using half rates, so we were going out with like 2 ounces of Pursuit per acre, early post. Actually did a really good job, but now we've got like 3 or 4 farms that, and they were all beans this year. We put warrant on. We actually had to go in there and try to clean up some water hemp again. Some of those species actually got sent to UW for trials. We'll find out if they're ALS resistant, which they are, and they're probably glyphosate tolerant, if not resistant. So that's where we got using Pursuit for so many years. So that's kind of the worrying with Pursuit. And I'm going to take this into a different realm a little bit too. So Pursuit's really good for some things. And so for me, one of the best Authority branded products that we used was Authority Assist. We loved it because you basically get sulfentrazone along with the imazapyr in Pursuit. So for us on a broad spectrum weed control option, Authority Assist actually was pretty decent. And if you look at some of the UW trials, Authority Assist is actually still pretty good. It's actually really decent on grass species. It's pretty decent on most everything else, because even the water hemp gets up some of the control with the sulfentrazone. So it's actually not a bad product. But the one thing I want everybody to kind of understand, and the thing I'm struggling with as we're looking at our chemical program at our farm, is don't forget the weeds you're not trying to control or you're not worried about when we're looking at chemical programs. So for me, the hardest part is I want to use potentially pyroxysulfone. So I'm kind of in that residual chemistry. I'm actually looking at Authority Supreme. And the one thing that's really good on that is it's great on water hemp. It's really good on grass. We start to kind of get a little suspect control on ragweed. Well, our two major weeds at our farm are ragweed and water hemp right now. So I don't want to kind of take care of one but forget about the other. So that's the thing that we need to do, and that's been the struggle for me, has been trying to understand which one I want to use. It seems like every time I want to control ragweed, I'll go out with like Authority first or Sonic. And then I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh crap, I'm going to forget about water hemp. So then we're going to go with Authority Supreme. Well, then I'm going to forget about ragweed. We talk about the dual products. Dual's really good on small seededs. We start getting to ragweeds. I mean, the Lumax days and stuff, we had a lot of control issues with metolachlor controlling large seededs. So, maybe I'll throw in some metribuzin with it and go with Boundary. And Boundary's a pretty decent option. But again, our ragweed control is a little iffy. Then I can add in some, Flexstar, and maybe we'll go with a prefix, so Dual and Flexstar early post. This is a pretty decent option, but then you lose your Flexstar pass for the year. So just depending on how much rate you go with and what your timetable is. But these are all things to consider. I've basically been sitting here and it just thoughts spinning around my head about what we were going to do. There's so many options out there, and it's not like corn. There's not as much of an easy button in soybeans as there is in corn. We have HPPDs in corn. You've got, dicamba's an option, early post. We got all these different things we can do. But in soybeans, it seems like it's kind of go back to the late 90s or mid 90s, right before Roundup came out really heavy. We've got to kind of select what chemical for the field and what for the weeds. So it's my thing. Pursuit, we'll get back in the Chem of the Week. Pursuit's really good chemistry. Imazapyr's been really good. The watch outs with it is going to be water hemp, any of these small seededs that could potentially have resistance to ALS chemistries. For me, Pursuit's more of a pre-option. So if you can get it on as a residual, make sure you cover your holes with it. If you got water hemp issues, a product like Zidua Pro, which is basically Pursuit, Zidua or peroxysulfone, and Sharpen, pick out quite a bit of your problems that you're going to have with Pursuit. So, you fill the holes, but then you help out with the other stuff. So those are things that I would consider, especially when we're using Pursuit. And like I said before too, don't forget when you're looking at pre-options in soybeans or residual options, don't forget, number one, the other weeds that you want to control. Not necessarily the main one you're looking to control, but don't forget the other weeds. And number two, don't put on a pre that takes away some of your options in post. So if we're putting down Flexstar pre, that eliminates some of our option on Flexstar post. If we're putting down Authority first, or any kind of first rate pre, we're getting rid of our option of using first rate post. So I would prefer, at least in my farm and with my consultants or consulting guys, we try to save our Authority first and our Flexstar for post, and try to use anything else that we can pre, just to try to get our upfront control options done. So peroxysulfone pre, anything and everything else we can use pre, we can, like our Authorities, Sharpen. We use a lot of that stuff pre, and then make sure we keep our Flexstar and Authority first or first rate as an option post. So hope you enjoy this Chem of the Week. I should have one next week. We're kind of on the road part of the week next week, but I'll be around. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and stay tuned for next time.